morning. How are you? Happy Friday to you. You got energy today? If not, let's give a little energy to you to kick off today, get you into that weekend, and hopefully you have some fun plans. Or maybe you're the kind of go-go person that just needs to relax. We get that. Dot gets it. I get it. Becca gets it. We're going to talk with both of them coming up in just a second. Of course, if you're new to the show, look above. This is what the show is all about, bringing you positivity, hope, inspiration, and getting you started the right way, the way that life should be, which is positivity. Again, I'm hoping that this show can bring you a little bit of that. We've been doing it for what, a couple of years, 2.5 years now. And I love each and every one of you that are bringing more and more to our show. Thank you for that. Feel free to sign on. Good morning, Julie. She started it already. Good morning, everyone. Yes, as you're popping on, feel free to say good morning to your community because that is exactly what it is. Thank you for tuning in each and every morning at 7 a.m. So we've got some weather we're going to do for you. We've got news you can use. And then today is the day we get a chance to visit with my friend Fleshman with Coldwell Banker Gundaker. We've got real estate news for you. And then we've got a little Friendship Friday. We're going to give you a education history lesson as well. Good morning. Jenny Egan is at home. She is moderating for you, taking care of you there as well. We're going to kick it off though with a segment. If you're new to us, we call it What the Weather.
Good evening from St. Louis, Missouri, and it is a beautiful one.
And you see there at the bottom, yes, it is brought to you by GradeWorks LLC. He is our newest sponsor, and they do incredible work. They do excavation work, they do roofing work. I know a lot of you might need some grading done in your home, maybe at your business. So let Mike and his crew do that for you. GradeWorks LLC, and he wanted to put his name behind our wonderful meteorologist, Beckett Moore. So again, GradeWorks LLC bringing you the What the Weather segment. So look them up, follow them again on social media. Good morning, my friend. Happy Friday.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Yeah, this is aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore. If you're new to the show, he gives us weather Mondays and Fridays. And sometimes when we have really severe weather, he will pop on with us. And again, always taking care of you. So we're going to let him give you the weather, but we're also going to have him hang for a bit since we are in Friendship Friday. I was talking to him last night about some of his favorite memories because can you believe you've been with us for a year and a half?
No, it's gone so fast.
It really has. I mean, I don't know if you all knew this, but it started as us just saying, "Oh, let's feature more and more of our youth and young entrepreneurs, etc." And Michelle's actually the one that hooked us up with Beckett. He did one for us, and I was like, "Wow, this kid's really, really good." Now he's 15. He's going into his sophomore year, and we're going to grow up with you. We're looking forward to it. So you're at your cottage. Do you agree? Waking up, it's a little less humid today, or at least it feels that way.
Yeah, it does feel a little cooler today, a little less humid. Yeah.
But is it going to get hot and humid and sticky today?
Yes, it is.
It
Yes.
is. Okay, so for people who like to get out and do their walks or they're walking the dogs or doing their exercise, would you recommend they do it now?
Yeah, do it now or in the evening.
Now we're in the evening. Okay, and again, I'm going to take care of you. I saw the other day that we were talking about a really crazy high heat index for tomorrow and then going into the weekend. So let's let Beckett give you the weather, and then he's going to hang and give us an idea of some of the things that he's really enjoyed over the last year and a half. All right, take it away, Beckett.
So looking at the forecast for this weekend and then heading into 96, so especially during the daytime, make sure to stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and especially check on your pets. Then as we move into tomorrow for your Saturday, we do have a chance of storms. Now that's going to be mainly in the afternoon with a high near 90, continuing a chance for afternoon storms into Sunday as well. Of course, this won't be all day, and some areas may not even get storms because these will be more of those pop-up storms that just come and go, scattered around the St. Louis area. Monday, that rain gets out of here, 89 degrees, sunny skies. Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 92, and then we continue rain chances into Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, that's again Beckett giving us the forecast, but now we're going to bring Dot into play here. Dot Fleshman, who's going to visit with us with Coldwell Banker Gundaker in just a second. So we do Friendship Friday, and obviously Beckett's a dear friend of ours. So we just mentioned Beckett has been with us for a year and a half now, which just seems absolutely crazy to me. What have been some of your favorite memories over the last year and a half, Beckett? And then Dot, I'm going to ask you the same thing, and maybe some standout things that he's done for us.
Yeah, so I would say my favorite memories have been being able to do the remote reporting, whether it's been from Chicago or here in Grafton during the Mississippi River floods, and then also in Hannibal as well. And then another thing I've really liked is being able to do those mobile shows with you at different locations across St. Louis and going into the studio with you. That's been really fun to do that in person.
Yeah, and I mentioned that you got to come over to the new studios because you haven't been to that yet. So, it was funny because Beckett was doing weather for us for a while. How long had it been before you and I finally met in person? A handful of months, wasn't it?
I think so, yes.
It was so funny because when he finally came in person, I was like, "Nice to meet you," and he's like, "Yeah, nice to meet you as well." Finally,
Yeah.
not virtual. I will say my favorite was probably when you and your dad were chasing the snowstorm, and you were standing on, I mean, piles of snow. And then, of course, when you saw the thunder snow, and it was, "Hey, did you see that?" And I made
Yeah.
him do like the Cantori, "Woo!"
That was awesome for sure. I'd have to agree with you.
Yeah, that stands out. But I mean, I love the fact that, again, yes, he gives us the weather, but then he does the reporting. I mean, just like regular field reporters. So he's really been amazing. And I'm just going to ask all of you as you sign on throughout the morning, if there's any standout moments of what Beckett has done, feel free to drop those in. Dot, what about you? What have been some of your favorite memories?
So, first of all, welcome and good morning, everyone. Monica, it's always a pleasure to be on the show. Beckett. So, when I met Beckett's parents, and it was so fun to meet his parents and speak with them and kind of get to know a little bit about them. And secondly, I think my biggest thing is Beckett's voice changing from when he started to now. He has changed. Like Beckett, you've changed so much, and of course we've all changed, but I mean, I feel like younger folks change more just because we see that growth, but um his voice was like amazing to me, but also the fact that he's a rock star meteorologist. Like, I cannot believe what you do at the age you're doing it, and like how amazing that is, and what other kids are doing trying to figure out life or whatever at this age. I mean, you're like tremendous. It's unbelievable what you do. So the fact that you're a rock star, the fact that your voice is changing, which is, I love your voice now, and I got to meet your family. It was kind of cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, here's the deal. His voice absolutely has changed, and we've gone back. We have several iterations of intros that we've used that Zach Kimball has put together for us, and it's really fun to not only hear his voice change, but also to see how you've grown. He came over to the house, Dot, for our Fourth of July celebration, and I had to look up. I'm like, wait, you're taller than me.
Right, right. Yeah, this is the year that all that's going to happen.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
these are the years, I should say, that all this is going to start happening or whatever. But I mean, you've got to be. I mean, I don't know. I just feel that way just watching you and get to see you on the show and like what your friends think.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. What do your friends think about what you do for us?
No, they think it's pretty cool. I think so, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Again, so everybody, if you're new to him, Beckett Moore, be sure to follow him. Tell them where they can follow you, Beckett.
On Twitter, more weather, as well as YouTube.
And again, if you want to see some really incredible reporting, there you go. All right, we're not going to make them feel uncomfortable anymore. Beckett, thank you. Have a fabulous weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
You too.
Okay, everybody. That is aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore. We're going to visit with the beautiful Dot Fleshman for our Friendship Friday and real estate. And boy, she's been working her butt off. She has been so busy, but that's how the market has been. So we'll talk about that with you. And good morning, Stephanie. Michelle said Beckett has changed so much in a year and a half. Marty, yes, he was the first guest in the new studio. I believe he was. Thank you for that memory. Good morning, Rose. Good morning. She says good morning to Dot. She loves Dot. We love meeting you too, Dot. Jill says he is taller. Yes, he's taller than me now, Julie. It's crazy. Stephanie said hi to Dot as well. All right, we'll be visiting with Dot in just a second. Let me give you some news you can use. Marty just said Dot's awesome. Yes, she is. So she'll be visiting with us. Here we go. Another business story for you. Ford is recalling over 850,000 cars in the United States due to a potential fuel pump failure. In fact, the Associated Press reached out to Ford looking for a comment, and they said no comments. Ford's recalling, potentially causing an engine stall while driving, increasing a crash risk. The recall covers a wide range of Ford and Lincoln branded vehicles made in recent model years, and it includes certain Ford Broncos, Explorers, F-150s, Lincoln Aviators, and Navigators. Documents published this week by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration note, again, it's because of the low pressure fuel pump inside the vehicles that may fail. It wasn't immediately clear if there was an estimate for when a fix would become available, but this week's recall report noted that owners will receive an additional letter with instructions to take your car to an authorized dealer for the service when the time comes, and that there will be, of course, no charge to you. But as I mentioned, the Associated Press reached out to Ford for further comments. As of right now, no comments from them, but hopefully they will very soon. MoDOT making some progress on those living in our immediate area on widening Interstate 70. Those St. Charles County and Warren County folks, barrier walls are now in place on the shoulder of I-70 at Forestell. Crews will work behind these walls to construct the new bridges at the Forestell interchange needed to add the third lane in both directions. The speed limit will be down to 60 miles per hour in the area as that work continues, so watch your speed. It's expected to take another 3 years to expand Interstate 70 from Warrenton to Wentzville, along with widening I-64 and making other interchange improvements. The tentative completion date, by the way, folks, is the end of 2028, so this one's going to take you a while. Well, Ritz peanut butter crackers are being recalled. Yep. Now, this is for potential allergic reactions. A voluntary recall has been issued. According to a statement issued by the FDA, some individually wrapped packs of the crackers may be incorrectly labeled as cheese variety, even though they may be a peanut butter variety. So we're talking about all of you that may have peanut allergies. It covers the 8-pack, 20-pack, and the 40-pack cartons of Ritz peanut butter cracker sandwiches, in addition to the 20-pack Ritz filled cracker sandwich variety pack carton. The company said all are labeled correctly on the outside with an allergen advisory statement that indicates the crackers contain peanuts. It doesn't cover cartons that only have the cheese cracker sandwich or any other of the Global LLC products. There have been no reports, fortunately, of any injuries or any illnesses related to this. All right. Are you with me on this? Do you absolutely love Nutella? It's delicious, isn't it? I got to keep it out of the house. My husband first had Nutella when we went to Italy. And if you're a Nutella fan, well, Nutella's maker, Ferrero, is planning to buy cereal maker WK Kellogg for $3.1 billion. They said yesterday they'll pay $23 for each Kellogg share. The transaction includes the manufacturing, the marketing, the distribution of Kellogg's portfolio of breakfast cereals across the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean. So you might want to know about this one if you are maybe a person who really watches business news, or you're looking at, maybe I need to look into that for my stocks and maybe buy into that. Well, the Cardinals are hosting Nikki Glaser Day coming up in September. It'll be on the 1st. Do you know her? She's a local comedian. She will be the latest and the first female celebrity with St. Louis ties to have their own day at Busch. Fans will receive this Nikki Glaser bobblehead, and a portion of every ticket sold will go towards Stray Rescue of St. Louis and the St. Louis Avian Rescue. I love this. Glaser, by the way, was the first woman to host the Golden Globe Awards back in January. She starred in the Netflix roast of Tom Brady that people are still talking about today, earning the title of the New York Times Comedian of the Year. And then coming up on September 1st, if you go to that game, you will get her bobblehead. Speaking of the Cards, it was a hot one last night, and I don't just mean temperature-wise, but look at that. 8-1, the Cards beat the Nationals. Way to go, guys. It is the Braves coming to town now against the Cardinals. That will be at 7:15. And lastly, we've got some Blues news for you. John Kelly not returning as the Blues TV play-by-play broadcaster. In a release, the team said the broadcast on FanDuel Sports Network will be simulcast on radio on 101 ESPN with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale filling the booth. As part of restructuring, the team said that Kelly's contract will not be renewed. Interesting, huh? Yeah, a long-time broadcaster. Okay, National Day of Calendar, and on tap today, National French Fry Day. Okay, how about you do this for me? Drop in your favorite French fries. Where are your favorite French fries? I'm going to ask Dot in just a second. National 7-Eleven Day, Color Car Appreciation Day, National Mojito Day. Oh, that sounds good on a really hot summer day. It's also All-American Pet Photo Day. So saturate social media with your favorite pets. National Blueberry Muffin Day. And if you are a fan of cherries, it's National Rainier Cherry Day. That's how we do it. Get you all up to date and news you can use. Good morning from Alaska, Kathleen. I think it sounds like it's probably much cooler than it is here. Okay, so Jenny says, "Oh my gosh, why I can't deal with construction anymore." Yep, she lives out west, so she's going to deal with that. Nikki needs to come on the show. I know, Michelle. Somebody make that happen. And oh darn, I like those crackers. Well, Stephanie, just make sure that you check on them, and as long as you don't have a peanut allergy, then you should be okay. We're going to go from yellow to yellow, and then we're going to see Dot. And we want to welcome Crunch Fitness, by the way, as one of our growing list of sponsors. And Crunch Fitness is where I tape my fitness segments that we drop in on our Foodie and our Fitness Fridays. Today, though, is a Friendship Friday, mixing with some real estate news. And then I will be back with Foodie Friday with Chef Qui Tran from my Lee and Nudo house. That'll be next week. And we'll also be doing some fitness for you. If there's ever, by the way, something that you want me to cover in the fitness realm, just shoot me an email at info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. All right, you saw her for just a little bit. Now let's bring her back on. Dot Fleshman, good morning officially to you.
Good morning, Monica. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I've been busy.
Yes,
We have
you
not
have.
been like chit-chatting so much this past month.
I know, but you know what? That's a good thing. I know it feels like it's just like, oh my gosh, push, 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 push. But the market has been hot. I mean, we've been saying this for a long, long time now. I mean, I know if you had a crystal ball, you'd be able to say, here's the answer to that. But do you and all of your colleagues see anything slowing down in that realm anytime soon?
Well, just like the market seasonally changes, so we will see some changes coming up here during the fall, and then it starts getting busy again. So it slows down right around back to school, and then the fall comes, and then the serious lookers really jump in towards the end of the year. But as far as the market in general, we don't really see that slowing down a lot. People are still looking for houses. We still have a lack of inventory. We're in this transitional phase of, still some properties going over asking, some are sitting a little bit longer where you can maybe negotiate a better deal. So we're busy. It's a good market to be in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, by the way, if you are new to our shows we do with Dot, she is again a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker Gundaker. I'm going to give you the information how you can reach out to her when it's time for you to buy or sell. I ask that you support those that support us. Fleshman at cbrealty.com. That's her email address. Fleshman.com again on the website, or 314-324-3317. So you can see in the description today, hidden gems and honest truths, what makes St. Louis real estate so unique. So let's break down the first part, Dot, affordability versus national averages. I always am interested in where we are compared to the rest of the nation.
Exactly. And so when you look at the national average, the average home price is about $440,000 plus.
Okay.
When you look at St. Louis, it's $270,000 plus. So what does that look like? So St. Louis City, St. Louis County, but metro area average is about 270. That seems kind of low. I just remember thinking it sounded kind of low, but when you add the city, in there, it brings that average down. So when you look at my office, I work in the Coldwell Banker Gundaker office in the Town and Country location. Our average is in the 540 plus average, because people are selling $1 million homes out there. But living in the city and then looking at the metro, we're at 227. So what makes that appealing to a lot of people is to move to Missouri. I have had many closings with people who are just moving to the area from out of state.
So let's take a look at some of these closings, by the way, because you, as you mentioned, you've been busy.
Right, right, right. My beautiful couple here that just built a new home out at Darden Prairie, out out there by Lake St. Louis,
Mhm.
Wing Haven. Yes,
He's
that's Bill.
he looks so happy.
He's so happy. It was such a fun moment. He loved that house. He didn't want an old house. He wanted a new house. So instead of building it, they had a spec home already built. So he got to move into a brand new home.
That's fantastic. And again, whenever it's your right time, it doesn't matter what age, if it's your first one or if it's the last one, right? You say, this is now our forever home. And this is the one that we want to end our lives in. Like I said, whenever it's your time, please reach out to Dot. All right. Tell me about this couple.
So Tim and Nicole, they basically are city liver. They live in the city and they wanted to move out into the county. They have a little baby and they wanted to kind of start grooming themselves for like the school district moving forward. So we do still have a lot of young folks living in the city, and we'll talk about that here shortly. But it was great closing with them. They just bought their beautiful house out in De Pere, and they look forward to renovating that a little bit and then selling their home here in the city.
Okay, and I purposely, you might think that I did this because of this picture, but I didn't. I don't. I know I don't wear yellow a lot, but I did not pick it because of this. But look, you and I both in yellow.
I know, right? You know me, I'm a black girl. I love black. It's my favorite color. Well, yes. So this was for one of my clients who we sold their home out in Lake St. Louis, and
Mhm.
they had moved to New York to build a home up there. They actually came from New York, lived here for 20 years, and decided they really wanted to move back. But they weren't in the picture because they had already moved to New York.
So that's the thing. I mean, you might be here, or you might be moving, and then you have Dot working here for you or finding you that home. I mean, it's really amazing to me to see how real estate has evolved over the decades of people saying, look, I'm just trusting you. I'm going to have to work with you over Zoom. I mean, it's really crazy. Since you've gotten in the business, how much have you had to do that?
A lot, of course. And actually, I was going to talk a little bit later, but I do have a client in New York, a different client who I connected with, and he's interested in buying. He's an investor, and he
Oh,
wants to buy property here in St. Louis because, again, value driven.
yep.
And so I've helped him close a couple here, and we're purchasing a couple. Just wrote 2 more offers for him yesterday. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, we're talking New York, we're talking, via Zoom.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I know people thought it was crazy during the pandemic, but it really has been a lifesaver for a lot of people's businesses. Again, if you're just tuning in on a Friday, it is friendship and real estate talk that we do with Dot Fleshman. Now, before we go on to our next one, let's all congratulate a longtime follower of the show. This literally is breaking news that it just closed yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yay! Come on.
Yay! And this is my my friend Ann Donnelly. So this was such a great, like, I loved working with her. She is just such a gem. And I don't know if Ann's on, but hello, Ann. I so enjoyed working with you. But she wanted to move out of her condo that she lived in for many, many, many years. We found this perfect, beautiful house. Like, I love this house. And she got the keys yesterday.
Yay. Congratulations, Anne. We're really excited. You can see the joy in her face. It's always a little scary sometimes, and then all of a sudden the excitement takes over. So, well, congratulations to all of your clients and everybody that you've worked through. Again, we're talking about some real estate news. Before we do that, yes, Dot is a grandma. Rose just said, no way, she looks too young. So she's been a grandma, but now she has they want to know how your new grandbaby is. Because
Oh,
again,
thank you so
he
much
was
for
born
asking.
early.
Yes, thank you. My son and my daughter-in-law had a little baby, Johnny, and he was born at 29 weeks. So he was born premature at 2 pounds, 2 ounces. But the good news is in 3.5 weeks, he's gained some weight. So he's now at 3 pounds. So he's doing well. He's off many of the machines that he was on. And, we'll just keep him in your prayers. It takes a lot for these little preemies to grow. And even though they're out of the womb, they're still growing as if they were in the womb, and all those changes have to occur, just not on the inside, but on the outside.
Right. And so he's got to stay in the hospital for how long?
He'll stay in the hospital probably until end of August, until he turns 5 pounds or his birth date, I believe. And I don't have the exact date or anything like that. There's a lot that still goes into it for little preemies, but he's so adorable. And
Yeah.
my son is in love, my daughter-in-law is in love, and it's just I love seeing them as parents. And they've literally had to kind of grow up quickly and take care of this baby. And it's not like you have a baby, you go home. It's like now they're learning so many things about what's going on with baby and his little, I call it his little condo, the little unit that he kind of lives
Right.
in. But
Again, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about, just life in general. And I love being real and transparent. So thank you all again. Send prayers to go Johnny, go Johnny, go. You got this, and to the family as well. Is everybody saying prayers for your sweet grandson?
thank you.
Keep striving and growing. Okay, Rose said, Monica, my grandma's never looked like Dot.
Hi, Rose. Good morning. One day, Rose and I are going to go have coffee.
You need to, absolutely. Well, actually, Rose has a question or maybe a statement. Rose said, Dot, I might have asked you, but please tell me again, is there like a 50 rule where if you purchase a home at least 50 miles out of the country or city, you get some breaks on loans? My son keeps being told about this. He lives South City and wants to move like Festus or somewhere out there.
So I don't know the exact rules. That would be your lender, but the rule of thumb is you can live in a house and you can have another house within a certain parameters, and that's based on your interest rate.
Okay.
Because you're living in one, you're renting the other because you can't live in both. I mean, I guess you can live in both. That's the other thing. I think that's what she's talking about. So, for instance, if I lived here in the city and I want to have another house out in Wentzville or somewhere past that, there has to be so many miles in between for me to be categorizing it as my home and then my farm home, something like that.
Okay.
Really based on the interest rate, but her lender would be able to help her with that.
There we go. And anybody else, by the way, if you have comments or questions for Dot, this is the time. Drop it in live, or you can always say, hey, I'm watching on replay, #replay. Can you ask Dot this? You can also tell us if you have a topic that you want us to cover on a future Friday that we have Dot on. Okay, so I see this a lot, Dot. These historic neighborhoods that suddenly have this modern twist. I mean, I'm always thinking, Jim always talks about, all the beautiful homes that are in Kirkwood, but then all of a sudden you go down these other streets and you've got everybody, he always calls it the younger generation wanting to completely change and just take it down and then bring up this either huge home or a modern home, or sometimes it looks a little out of place because people know it as a historic site. So are you seeing more and more of that? And if so, what areas?
Absolutely. So sticking with kind of the city area, you're going to look at like Lafayette Square, Tower Grove, Central West End. You've got all these areas within the city that, older people lived in. And as they pass on and we're passing on, they pass away, and then we pass this on to younger generations. What's happened is a lot of younger generations are moving into the city, and they are taking these things and reviving these neighborhoods. I mean, the Grove was a dead neighborhood years ago, when we were growing up, and now it's happening. You've got restaurants, you've got, salons, you've got barbers, you've got, coffee shops, you've all these areas that are within walking distance. And so they're reviving these areas, and they're taking this structure, which is so gorgeous and beautiful. When you look at down in the city, the ornateness of it, and they're modernizing it. So you're taking something old, which got good bones. Some of them don't have good bones, so you have to fix that. But you've got that structure, and then they make it modern. It's gorgeous. You walk into these homes, and from the outside, you're like, oh, this is going to be old and stinky on the inside. And you walk in and it's amazing. And you're like, who's going to pay $600,000 for this house? And then all of a sudden it's like a bidding war and everyone wants to be down there. So there are a lot of newer homes within those areas that are walking distance, et cetera. And what spiked a lot of this, Monica, was Washington University and BJC put out kind of like a grant that basically says it will give pay $8,000 of your closing costs if you move in towards the city and closer to Washington or WashU and BJC. So that's because they want you, the doctors, the nurses, et cetera. to live close by in case of emergencies, et cetera. So that was a very good incentive that they did. And we did sell a house to someone that took them up on that offer.
Well, again, if you're just tuning in, Fleshman and giving us kind of maybe some areas to watch or maybe some areas for you to consider. Maybe you're one of those that wants to go into the historic neighborhood and then have that modern twist. But that brings up the age-old fight. City versus county. So for all of you that are like, no, diehard city, but it's interesting what's happened in our own city. And you can think about this if you are in another state, another country, wherever you live, what is it like where you are? For here in our immediate St. Louis area, it is that whole, it's crazy to me, Dot. I mean, even county to county, right? So St. Louis County to St. Charles to Jefferson, Franklin, Warren, and we can go St. Francis, St. Genevieve, we can go on and on and on. There are people who are so set and don't want to cross certain lines, don't want to cross the river, even from Missouri to Illinois, just right a stone's throw across from downtown St. Louis into that southern Illinois area. It's so funny how people just want to stay in the bubble. But what are we seeing just if we take St. Louis City to St. Louis County?
Monica, yes, thank you very much. That is true. And I happen to be one of those people. Like, I love living here in the city, but you couldn't get me to Illinois for anything. Free house, nope, not going.
Why? Why is that? What is that mentality?
It's just I'm not sure what it is, but I have no desire to be anywhere near Illinois. I don't want to have anything to do with that's just it's a lot of choices that people make, and I've got friends who have moved to Illinois, and that's okay for people who do live in Illinois and they want to be there, whether it's family and work. And sometimes you end up where you end up because of family, and it's hard to move, right?
Yep.
So it's hard for me to say, oh, I'm just going to move out to Wentzville when my entire family is in this area. Yeah. So then you stay. So that same thing with Illinois. People who want to live in Illinois, or their jobs, or it's closer, and people don't want to drive for an hour. So if their job is in Illinois and they want to move closer to Illinois, it makes sense. But it's not for everyone. Right. I would like to move out into the county. I don't know. St. Charles is a little bit far for me, but again, city folk have this thing about, and of course, as a real estate agent, I drive a lot, so it doesn't matter to me now because I'm always driving. But city don't want to drive too far, but yet people from the county are willing to drive as far as possible. Doesn't matter.
No, but it's interesting of what plays into it, but you're absolutely correct. And some people say if you grew up here in St. Louis, that there's something about it that just draws you in. And if you decide to leave, you're coming back at some point. And once you come back, that you're here. Obviously being friends as long as we have, Jim loves the South. And I don't mean South here. I mean the South, right? So Tennessee and Alabama, South Carolina, et cetera. And he's always talked about wanting to move. And my decisions always come back to, this is where my family is. I think that's what we're all, it's that heart of, this is where my family is, where my friends are. And it's crazy to think of starting over.
So, Monica, and again, there's no right answer to anything. It's, people want to live where they want to live. And I've had people say, oh my gosh, I'd never want to live in the city. And I think to myself, well, that's because you've never lived in the city. So yes. All you know is what you hear on TV, and that's not really what the city's about. Part of it is not, good. You have to be very careful. And I think that's one of the things that we have to do. Schools play a big part of where people choose to raise their families. And we have failed here in the St. Louis area. Our St. Louis public schools are horrible. Mm-hmm. And what's happening here is that is becoming the choice of why people are moving, not because they don't want to live in the city, not because they don't love the ornate buildings, but because they need school choice. And now I don't want to speak out of line, but I think the president has now done school choice where you can go to school and live anywhere you want. I don't know all the details of that. However, the schools are why people want to move. So when you don't trust your school system, you move. My clients, I have 2 clients, both live in the cities, mm-hmm. and I've just helped them buy houses out in the county. So again, it's because of schools. They want to put their children in schools that they're going to trust. Well, we really have to fix. I've talked about this before on your show, probably some podcasts back, but St. Louis City really has to get some new leadership, and they really do have to kind of get our school district fixed. However, it's not just the schools. You have a little bit more less square footage here, meaning grass in your backyard, et cetera. Right. And when you move out to the county, you've got lot more land. And if you
Mhm.
go even further out, you can get a home with like acreage, like
Mhm.
an acre or 2 acres, etc. Right? Exactly. As
Or
you know,
6.
or six. Or six. And so, so there's a desire for that to say, I want to have a little bit more than this. I don't really want my neighbor to be so close to me next door. I mean, I live in a townhome. My next door neighbor couldn't get any closer, right? Our
Right?
houses are connected. So, but for some people who want a little bit more breathing space, and they want to move out. So you're looking at square footage, you're looking at taxes, but then again, your taxes do go up a little bit. Why?
Mhm.
Taxes are going up because you're paying for that better school district. You're paying for a little bit more of that square footage, but there's that balance of why it's worth it. So it's city living versus county living. Some people are still moving into the city, and they are doing exactly what you said earlier. They are buying decrepit property,
Mhm.
and they're buying it at such a great deal. They're revamping it, renovating it, making them beautiful, and getting them on the market. And they're going multiple offers over asking. So go get it. It's not just, and it's a younger generation.
Yeah.
So you've got these young, high 20s, low 30s, et cetera. They're moving back into the city because they get a great rate. They
Mhm.
get a great square footage for their startup home. And,
Right.
with everything nowadays, first time home buyers, it's kind of hard if you're trying to compete against a family out in the county and cash offers, et cetera.
When I was in television, I had a bunch of friends that I worked with that were younger, and they're all like, "Yeah, city, city, city," and they were all about, "Let's move into the city. We can get more. These are our starter homes," and I loved that. But I'm going to take a break, and when I come back, I want to ask you, as a real estate agent, what do you hear people be a little apprehensive about when it comes to the city? Does it have to do with crime, or what else? We'll talk about that with Dot Fleshman with Coldwell Banker Gundaker when we return. Well, I want to welcome back our dear friends at Just Pools. Thank you so much for coming back on with us for the summer months. I want you to step into their wonderful showroom where they have spas. They have everything you need, of course, for pools, Just Pools, and then step outside and see that beautiful pool. It is right by the West Outer Road there, 3987 West Outer Road in Arnold. And if you are needing chemicals for the pool, they have 10% off of those Clear Results chemicals right now, of course, to keep it looking as beautiful as theirs does. We took this video and I was just absolutely in love with the features. So the rock features, the fire, the water features. If you want to add those, maybe you've had a pool for a while and you're like, oh, but I would like to kind of dress it up a little bit. Those fountains, aren't they cool? I had friends come over for the 5th party that we had, and they were like, oh, did you just add the fountain? I was like, actually, we've always had it. We just somehow never turned it on. So yeah, think about how you can evolve the pool that you have. Just Pools. They are the pool specialist, again, located in Arnold. We also have these incredible Adirondack chairs that we bought for them. So multiple layers of things that they can do for you. As I'm asking for you to always do, support those that support us so we can keep this wonderful show going. Madonna, thank you so much for everything that you do. Stop in, tell them thanks. And again, when it's time for you to build a pool or get what you need, call them at 636-464-7110. All right, folks, if you are just tuning in, we are featuring our Friendship Friday, and we're talking some real estate news with our dear friend, Dot Fleshman. So if you're just tuning in and you want to know how to find her, you can go online to dotfleshman.com. Fleshman at cbrealty.com is her email address, or you can give her a call. Just talk to her. Maybe you just start to say, hey, we really would like to know what my house is worth, and maybe need her to start looking for things for you. 314-324-3317. All right, we went into the break, and as I mentioned, for those that are considering the city and they want so bad to put their money into St. Louis City, because we need it. We do not need the city to fall apart. But are people still apprehensive, Dot, because of crime?
So some of it is, yes, of course. I mean, we should always be leery, of our surrounding areas and kind of like what's going on. And it is when you look at the statistics, within the city and the crime has increased, but it's geographically speaking certain zip code areas. Okay. So, but what happens is we're all in that pool together. So it sounds like all of St. Louis City has this high crime when really it's probably, it's definitely, I don't want to, discriminate, but in just certain areas, certain zip codes. So it's not necessarily within all of the city.
Right.
Yes, crime is a little bit higher downtown.
Mhm.
That is because so many people have left that area, leaving many places vacant and open for that. When there are a lot of people around, there's less crime. So when there's less people around, you're going to see that crime increase. And so you've got downtown, maybe North City, maybe North County, maybe
Right.
heading up in that way. But we get pulled into the whole big pool number. But crime let me just say, crime is high, but it has gone down. It's gone down, but it's still high compared to other states.
So the problem is, and I'm going to fault what I came from doing 30 years. It's what the media puts out there. And then it's the fear mongering, it's the clickbait, it's the likes, the follows, it's what people are putting out there. Again, we're not dismissing that there is crime, but there's crime everywhere. It's just unfortunately what is discussed in the news all is city, city, city. In fact, we're just coming off of 4th of July, which Dot and I are going to talk about in our friendship talk in just a second. But we're talking 180 people that were arrested. I mean, that was the headline, and everyone, all they do is roll their eyes and go, oh, the city again. And it makes them stay out of the city, and it makes them not want to think about moving into the city. I blame the media a lot of times.
That is correct. That is correct. And, if you look up the statistics on the people that stay in the city, 75% of people born in the city end up staying in the city just because they lived in the city. There are the few that do migrate in. But the city is losing population every year. So every year the city loses population. Do you know, years ago growing up, there were 600,000 people that lived in the St. Louis city, and now we're down to 200 and something
Oh,
thousand. I
whew.
mean, so you have to take in consideration not only these people that lived here. Think downtown for just a moment. It's like you have all these buildings
Mhm.
where you work, but you also have lofts and places where people lived.
Right.
So work moves out, they move to Clayton, they move to Chesterfield, they move out. And then you got people who are like, well, if they're moving, I guess I'm going to move too. So you've got people who move out. We do have people moving in trying to revive these areas. It's going to take us a lot of time and a lot of work. But just like I said in our last couple of podcasts, we cannot let our city decapitulate. We cannot we can't, I mean, everyone needs their city. And I don't know how else to explain it, but we need the city. We can't let it fail. So we do have to, even though we live in a county, et cetera, we still have to keep the city. We drive into the city. This is where all our sporting events are. So we need to keep it revived. And there are people out there that are working on getting the city to be revived, comparing it to maybe Chicago's downtown area.
Mhm.
So there's some work, that we're working on. There are a lot of immigrants moving into the St. Louis city. So when you
Yep.
look at some of those areas that we just talked about, when we're talking about like Soulard, Lafayette, Tower Grove, like out that way, there are a lot of immigrants moving into our area, and they are the ones who are reviving our cities.
Yeah, yeah. We have to have people come from other countries. I mean, we need to take care of our own. So it's very, very true. And for those of you that say, okay, I want to go watch the Cardinals, I want to go watch St. Louis City SC, I want to watch the Blues, but oh my gosh, I want to get out right away. Then we need a politician to step in and do something. We need a head of the St. Louis City Public Schools to do something. I do hope that our change in our mayor and what we see in the political realm, I hope somebody gets it, because again, otherwise we are just going to completely fall apart, and no one's ever going to want to come here. We're going to have a problem with infrastructure. We're going to have a problem with tourism. So think about all those things. You think about all the money that we need to come in. I mean, Dot just mentioned 600 to 200,000. It's not a good thing. We're also seeing less and less police in our St. Louis city, right? They're strapped. It's an ongoing problem, but let's give positives, right? So let's look before we get into our friendship talk. Let's kind of break down. So we've talked a little bit about schools, but here's the thing that Dot listed in some of the background that she gave me: the architecture, the charm of some of these cities. My brother lives in Lafayette Square. Those homes are stunning, absolutely stunning. They've been around since what, the 1800s. I remember doing. I used to write for Streetscape magazine, and one of my first and favorite articles that I ever wrote was about the tornado that completely went through and devastated that area, but then it came back. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about growth that can happen from businesses to people moving in. So the architecture and the charm we've talked about a little bit, but tax incentives. So let's talk about positives for the city and then negatives, and as well for the county.
Well, right. So you do have tax abatements. So if you're moving into the city, when they want you to build in the city, they want you to move into the city. We happen to be in a home that we had a 10-year tax abatement. So those are some of the pluses that you have there. Now, one of the minuses to that is, if you live in the city or work in the city, you do have that extra 1% tax that you do have to pay. But there's also the convenience. Everything in the city is convenient. You've got everything around you. You can be there quickly within 10, 15 minutes versus, county, we say you can get anywhere within 30 minutes, which is true. You can get pretty much anywhere within the St. Louis County within 30 minutes. But if you live in the city, you can get there quickly. I can be downtown in 10, 15 minutes, not even 15. That would be with traffic.
Right. And then it's the fact of, I have always been a fan of brick, stone. Whenever I see siding, I'm like, oh, I don't like siding. In the city, we're talking about brick homes.
Brick homes. Yeah. And there was somewhere that I read, and I'd have to, Ronnie's my did you know guy, but the reason we have so many bricks here in brick homes in the city is because St. Louis was known. We actually were known for making bricks, and people would buy our bricks. So St. Louis was known for that. So that's why there's so many brick homes here in the area.
And then
Here's
again,
a quick funny story, Monica. So
Yeah.
my mom and dad are Greek, so they came from Greece years and years and years ago. And when my mom first came to America, she was just like, why are there brick homes everywhere? Because you see in Greece, the brick homes are where all the animals lived.
Are you serious?
Yes. Yeah, they had brick homes in Greece where all the animals lived. So when she came here, she's like, why are there so many brick homes? She was a little confused by that.
Culture. I love culture. Well, again, the other positives, as she mentioned earlier, but if you just tuned in, the walkability aspect. I mean, that's the thing that I've always loved. Of, oh my gosh, look, we walk over to Forest Park. I've always thought it would be so great to live right near an amazing park in Forest Park with everything that it houses there, just from the park alone to the Muni to the Jewel Box. I mean, so many levels of things, and then also the coffee shops and all the charming neighborhoods. So think about that when it is time for you to maybe you can put St. Louis City back in a good light, which is absolutely what we need. But multiple levels. Again, you got to decide what's right for you. We talked about the school aspect. We talked about space, yards. Again, that's the reason why there are so many homes, because it's kind of like when we do our positive talk time, there's a right dog for you, there's a right home for you, and you just got to make that decision. So let Dot help you through that. Again, reach out to her when it's your time, 314-324-3317, .fleshman.com and .fleshman at cbrealty.com. Before we get into our friendship news, Rose said, I love South County. I grew up in the city, but no, thank you. Interesting. Lindbergh ranking slipped. Hold on. Lindbergh ranking slipped a few notches, but house sales are still booming. City's too busy, too many sirens, sketchy areas. I do, however, hate that it's St. Louis gets a bad rap with crime. I have to tell people I don't live in front of Enterprise, but I love St. Louis. Yeah, I mean, I think she's speaking for a lot of people of trying to make that decision. And my husband grew up in the city. I don't know if I said, oh, well, you were from South City. Would you move back to the city? Right now, I think his answer would be no.
Right.
It's crazy. All right. Dot, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we didn't get a chance to celebrate 4th of July together. on the show or in person. But we do want to talk about the aspect of our freedom and what does it mean to you? Feel free to drop that in, by the way. There's about, well, actually, let's do a social media check-in. This is when I ask you to text everybody that you know. All right, so we've got 13 of you on Facebook, 16 of you on X, 3 of you on Rumble, 3 of you on YouTube. LinkedIn doesn't populate for us, and for some reason, Instagram decided not to fire today. But 36 of you, and go ahead and text people. Tell them to tune in live if they can. If not, make sure that you share this show and that they get a chance to watch later. All right, into the friendship talk when we return.
Discover your full potential with a personalized styling experience. Designing, customizing, and transforming the looks of men and women. Revamp your individual style and embrace what makes you, you. That's real confidence.
This lady got me in the best shape of my life. I literally didn't know that I could be in shape like that. But the amount that she pours into her clients, and especially whenever you get the one-on-one training, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it was really life-changing. I learned so much about proper form, about nutrition, about just being able to invest in myself. I hired Monica to be my personal trainer, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
When you want to feel good, you work out at Crunch. You don't go here, because here feels bad. But here we help you feel good, feel strong, feel rejuvenated.
Join Crunch Fitness today.
All right, Dot, you got to come and work out with me at Crunch, by the way.
I know. I think that was so fun.
Oh my gosh, it is. I worked out with my friend Janice the other day, and she's like, holy cow, it's 45,000 square feet. And everybody, I mean, you know, I've been in gyms since I was 15, but as a trainer since 1999, I've never been more impressed with trainers. Just really, it's an amazing feel. I know you probably think I'm saying that because they're a sponsor of ours, but it is not the case. I in fact, I only allow a sponsor on if they align with our mission, and they are just, they're incredible. So check them out. And I'm excited for St. Peter's because St. Peter's is opening, I think, in like a week or so. So Florissant, Baldwin, St. Peter's, and they are continuing to grow. So let me know when you're ready. And for any of you, right, come on and work out with us. Okay, so we missed 4th of July together, but we wanted to talk about it a little bit. And oh, there she goes. Wait a minute. She's draping herself in the colors. I love it. That's adorable. Red, white, blue. How proud of you. You know what? I don't think I've ever asked you this. How proud are you to be in this country?
Monica, so I come from a family of immigrants. My parents came from Greece, and I get the privilege and the honor of getting to know both my native country and the country that I live in. I was born here in the United States, but I get to hear what it was like to live in Greece and to live in other countries. And my mother instilled in us how proud she is to be a part of these United States and how she gets to contribute, how my family, my mom and my dad, and how we get to contribute to this country and what we get to offer this country. And we should all have that feeling of pride and being proud to live in this country. There is so much out there right now, as we all see and as we all hear, for people who want to burn our flags and people who want to, hate on our country and hate on, there's so much hate out there, and it's literally coming from these terrible people who want to not be proud. People, I mean, this is the real Monica Adams, and you say to keep it real.
Yes.
Those people should leave.
Yep.
Leave our country, go to another country, as some of these people, stars, whatever they were called, have done. And they should continue to do what they do. If they hate living here, they need to go, because those of us who love living here should live here. The people who are listening to this podcast right now are beautiful people, kind people. I don't care how people voted. My family voted half and half. It doesn't matter. We love each other.
Agreed.
But we have to love our neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
We have to love our community. We have to love being here. If you see trash, pick it up.
Yep.
Be part of that person who creates that change. And I think that was where this whole I love 4th of July every year. And every year I put flags out in our subdivision. So if you drive by, you just see nothing but 1,000 of these little flags just all over the place, because we need to, honor our country.
We do, and we should be proud of the red, white, the blue, the stars. And I agree with you. There's all these different celebrities that have said, "I'm moving out." If the change in the changing of the guard, right? The change of the president, and if so and so gets in and so goes out, I'm out of here. Really? How about you just work on change? And I agree with you. My family did the same. And do we bicker? No. Do we listen to each other? Yes. When it gets into the heated arguments, you've got to keep an open mind. And I've asked you many, many times to be a good listener, because if we all thought the same, what a boring world it would be. And by the way, you should have friends of many different cultures. It makes you well-rounded. You should be excited by what another culture is bringing to our culture. It's very poignant and very, very powerful. Not only should we be proud of that, but you should look into the history of this, our Constitution. What do we stand for? Our forefathers, what did they fight for? By the way, our men and women that are on the front lines, what do they fight for our freedom? And I know, and by the way, this is why we ask you to be real. If there are any of you that want to go back in history and say, but here's the problem, here's the issues that I have, and I know it came up recently, it was in the news, talking about our African American friends, and they said, well, look, you don't understand what we went through, the slavery, and when we talk about 4th of July, it doesn't sit well with us. I would love for you to speak up about that. I mean, to me, it's important because we need to listen to what's heavy on their hearts.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly what you said. And part of that is, we're in this together. And if right now I walked outside and someone walked by and they fell, I would run and try to help pick them up. That's just it's an instinct that every one of us have, right? So I'm at Target, just forget about my house. I'm at Target, you're walking out, you see someone fall. You go to help, you literally just drop yourself and you go to help them and pick them up. You're like, oh my goodness, are you okay? Never do you say, well, what color are you? I'll make a decision then. Never do
Right.
I say, how did you vote? I'll make a decision then. Never I'll ask if you're straight or gay. Do I make a decision then? You just do it because that's natural. And we need to get back to humanity and humbleness and take care of our people and take care of our neighbors and take care of our communities and be caring and really offer. It's what can we offer to our communities? Now, I'm going to be straight up. I was not great in history when I was in high school. I could care less. I was the cheerleader. I was the pom-pom girl. I was like ready for all the fun stuff, right? Debate team, woohoo. But this Constitution,
Yes.
United States of America, when you get this little book, you can go anywhere and you can get this. Read this. It's amazing what we read and what we've done. And just like you said, what have others before us done so that we had the rights and the freedoms, the right to be a woman, the right to vote, the fact that it took us years to become a woman and have the right to vote. And yet there are women who don't vote because it rained that day or they were busy or they're working. It's like, make the time to go vote. There are women who died to make sure that we had those rights. And part of that is if you don't like how your communities are working, instead of complaining,
Work to
make it,
change.
contact the person that you know that you should contact, and in your areas, and tell them, just say, hey, what are your thoughts on making these types of changes?
Yeah.
You might think you're one person, but if you complained and 20 other people complained, now there's a difference. But if everyone is like, my one voice doesn't matter, then there'll never be a difference. And so I think that's where we are right now within, 1776. So we're 249 years old. Next year, we're going to celebrate 250 years. And, we should have so much that our country is doing right, is doing well, comparatively speaking to other countries.
Absolutely. And again, look back into it. There's a reason. And I agree with you. History wasn't my favorite. I was more into science. I loved science, which is why I was going into medicine at the time. But we do have to look back in history. And sometimes it is dipping back there. Sometimes people say don't repeat it, but we do have to know about it. So the Declaration of Independence, sparking the dream, the Constitution, turning independence into structure, a reminder that freedom takes work. But everything that you were talking about earlier about reaching out of our own, what do I always ask people, right? get out of your own way, introduce yourself to somebody new, go and find somebody in a room that feels that they're awkward or they're not talking, befriend them, because what? We're being kind. What we literally say at the end of every show, be kind, just be a good human being. I mean, that's what blends us all together. We could go on and on about that. Dot and I both have to run off. I want to thank, by the way, Jennifer Bonacorsi with Jay Bloom. She asked me to be the keynote speaker at their national conference, which I'm going to race off to. Dot, I know, is racing off because she's got people to find their dream home, their independence, their dream as they get into this country. Real quick, let's look at where is it? Rose. Rose wanted to know, Dot, do you make baklava?
I do.
And she wants you to bring some when you have coffee together.
Okay. I will.
Diane, you are absolutely correct. She said part of the problem is going back to civility and respect for one another. Jenny says, be humble and kind. Well, there we go. See, it's right that she's my assistant. She thinks like me now. Be humble and kind. Not enough of it happening these days. Each of us has the responsibility to make our world better, Diane says. Rose, yes, love is the answer. And Diane says, yes, be kind to each other. That's the answer. It is. It really does come back to that. I know people have things that are very heavy on their heart and you're going through a lot of things, but trust me, somebody out there wants to take care of you, wants to be there for you, and truly does want to turn your life around. Okay, one more time to reach out to Dot Fleshman. Fleshman, you can reach her at .fleshman.com, .Fleshman at cbrealty.com, or 314-324-3317. By the way, Dot, if you're available, I know you're crazy busy, but I would love to see you at an upcoming event that we have, which is our Mobile Monica at the Tea Spout. It's in Chesterfield. So mark this date down. All of you that are watching right now, it's July 31st in Chesterfield. I want to pack this place. We were there yesterday for a meeting, and we brought this lady, Jenny, in, who I'm hoping to do some big things with. She is a rock star when it comes to helping women with women's health, with perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, all these things we have talked about, but haven't talked about in a while, by the way, and we will in a couple of weeks with her. She walked in with us yesterday and thought, what is this place? It's amazing. We're talking about mushroom teas and coffees. We're talking about everything from a health standpoint. If you are looking to just feel better about yourself and to understand what health and wellness is all about, July 31st, it's going to be 11 o'clock in the morning. She's going to teach you how to sleep better, have natural energy, immune boosting. The store is adorable. And hey, here's the breakfast menu, by the way. If you want to have breakfast, they serve it all day long. The avocado toast is incredible. I can't wait to try their waffles, their breakfast sandwich. They have a breakfast burrito, bagels. They've got lunch items as well. So that's coming up on July 31st. If you're free, I'd love for you to be there. Dot and all of you. Let's just have an early lunch or a late breakfast together. So our broadcast is going to be from 11 to 12. I'm super excited to introduce Amber Hamilton to all of you. We'll get her backstory first, and then we'll have fun together. So I don't know if you're free, but if you can be.
I'm going to look at my calendar to go.
I'd love to see you there.
So, everyone talks about being kind, Monica. You continue to be kind of a badass.
She gave me this piece of jewelry and it pulls out and says, be kind of a badass. My friend, I love you. I look forward to seeing you tonight, actually. We're going to celebrate a dear friend of ours. Yes. Thank you so much, sweetheart.
All right. I look forward to seeing you.
I look forward
to
seeing you.
Have a great day.
Everybody, again, have a great weekend. And don't forget that we have our big Mobile Monica Makeover show next Friday, July 18th, 9 o'clock in the morning. We're super excited to introduce you to some of our viewers that are going to have the makeover. We've got Danielle and Kim and Barb and Hayden. And then we'll meet some of the staff and we'll see the staff picks. We've got a casual and a fancy outfit that we'll put them in. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you've never heard of NCJW, go back and watch that show. We got the background from the ladies earlier this week. You can volunteer, you can donate, you can shop in store. They've got some great events like the back to school store. And I just love what they do for the world. They are truly kind human beings. Have a beautiful weekend. Stay inside if you can. It's going to be hot again. We were listening to Becky talking about the 90s, a heat index tomorrow, possibly up near 101. Some rain in the forecast as well. So you might want to grab the umbrella for wherever you're going. And then coming up on Monday, we are going to hear the background of T-Spout, Amber Hamilton, and how she got into the aspect of wellness and what she knows, that is, what we put in our body truly changes on multiple levels. Gut health, what happens to your skin, what happens to your nails, your hair, how you can sleep better, how your kids behave better, all by how we treat our body. So Amber Hamilton, my guest Monday morning. Have a beautiful weekend. And yes, do us a favor and be kind.